What's going on, y'all? This is Two Husbands and Two Wives. It's your boy, Steph Lamont.
It's your girl Kai.
It's your girl E.
S.A. with the M.
His name is Sam. His name is Sam. Yeah. So, but on a serious note, we really appreciate you guys tuning into our podcast and listening to our thoughts. You know, it takes a lot to be consistent with being a listener, so we really do appreciate you guys, and I could speak on the behalf of everybody here.
Y'all POP and holding it down.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? Legally blind, you know what I'm saying? But we just appreciate you guys, and we hope that you guys keep on tuning in to everything that we have in store. And today we have something that is a really good topic. Recently we've all become parents, and we have new childrens running around. So we're going to talk about today how becoming parents has changed the dynamic of our marriage, guys. As you can see, the ladies here look so excited to speak about this topic. So we're gonna pass it off to
Kai. I'm noticing that you look slightly uncomfortable. Is everything okay?
Well, first, before the guys go into what they have to say, because I know there's just so much they need to get off their chest for this episode.
Wow, that felt condescending.
I would like to share how I feel like. Well, okay, I feel like y'all need to go first, but what I'm going to say is on my behalf, I feel like things have changed a lot since we had Cairo. Mainly because, anybody's life changes when a kid enters. You hear about this all the time. Parents will say, like, that first year, like, you got to really reshift things because now you have another person in your household. But for me, I feel like it's changed a lot as far as, like, my focus. Because there's this little human that needs so much from you and they literally depend on you to live. It has kind of messed me up. I'm not even gonna lie. That's just how it is right now. I can't focus on anything when he's around because I'm always constantly trying to make sure he's okay, he's good. Cairo is also a very energetic baby. If you ever met him, he's not the type of baby that's just gonna sit still and do nothing. He likes to be entertained. He likes to have people around. So when Cairo is awake, I am awake and my mind is racing a mile a minute. So I have to constantly remind myself to take a step back. I had to learn a lot about asking for help because I wasn't doing that a lot either. Literally from the first month we had him when I could barely walk because I had to get my situation figured out after birth. Literally the first week we had Cairo, I was crying almost every night because I felt like I couldn't do as much for him as I wanted to because I wasn't physically able to because of the stitches and stuff that I had to get. So from the very beginning, I've kind of always been like, I need to just be there for every moment. I know what he needs. I know what he wants. I'm his protector, his guidance, and everything in between. So, and Stefan is too, but that's just how it was going through my head that I was, that he needed me to survive. And so I will admit that my life has been flipped upside down. But I'm just going to let Stefan say what he needs to say because clearly he got something he needs to get off his chest.
I feel like yeah. So our marriage definitely has the dynamic of our relationship has changed. I feel like since Cairo has been born, I think one of the most obvious is the time management. It takes a lot of time, like Kai said, to raise a child. Our son is very, very active, like she said. So I would say to Kai's point, because she did mention that she doesn't ask for help a lot. I feel like because she doesn't ask for help, the dynamic of her stress very much it influences the way that we may interact at certain points because I feel like it elevates things that she might have been a little bit stressed about in the past when we didn't have Cairo, to now it being on a 9 or 8. And I feel like that changes the dynamic of some conversations that we may have because of that. But I think maneuvering through that, it has to, like Kai said, she's getting better with asking for help in those times of need. But in the beginning, it was an uphill battle, y'all. It was an uphill battle, Kai and Cairo were like what they say, two
peas in a pod.
2 peas in the pod, and I was not in the pod, y'all. I was not in the pod.
Yes, you were in the pod.
Nah. I was somewhere else. Yeah.
Third wheel.
Yeah, I was the third wheel for sure. Definitely the third wheel. It was not the Three Musketeers. I would say it was more of the dynamic duo with you guys. Yeah? No?
What y'all think? What did the dynamic change for y'all?
So you're not gonna.
You speak first.
So I would say also, like, I admit that my focus, I think, has definitely shifted from just being about me and Sam to obviously not being about, like, me, Aria, and Sam. Or I would say Aria, me and Sam. And I think part of the reason why is because one of the biggest pieces of advice that I kept getting, and probably you too, was like, time goes so fast, make sure you're there and present. And I don't want to say I'm like using it as an excuse, but I think part of me is like, I'll give you an example. There are times where, like, I'll still rock her to sleep. She doesn't need to be rocked to sleep, which, like, thank God, because I know that's not the case for everyone. Mm-hmm. But there will be times when, like, I'll still rock her to sleep. And I know Sam will sometimes come in and he'll be like, oh, you're just doing this because you want to? Okay. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I want to. I want to spend time with her because before I know it, I won't be able to rock her to sleep. She won't want to be rocked to sleep. Mm. And so I think sometimes it could come off as though, like, my focus is solely on Aria, but it's like I'm trying to, like, get all, and I guess, like, even as I'm saying it, I'm having a parallel thought of, like, I'm trying to, like, make this connection with my daughter before it's, like, too late, before she gets too old. But then my parallel thought is, like, my husband.
Right, exactly. The connection may be too late to make.
Oh, but not too late.
But she's so
Not
new.
too late.
With her
so
8-month-old daughter.
Exactly.
She's so new, and like Kai said, like, I feel like she needs me. I feel like when she's crying and you're wondering, like, why am I, like, just leave her? Because I feel like she needs me. And also, her crying can get annoying if it's for too long. But yeah, I definitely can say that my focus has shifted. Guys.
I'll just say that something that came to my mind was recently, and I would say like last week, was the fact that I felt like I was just like, wow. I don't necessarily, now take this with a grain of salt, you feel what I'm saying? But like, I don't necessarily feel fiend over anymore. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and let me dissect that. When I say feel fiend over, like, before Aria, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I was like needed as Erica's partner, like emotionally, and like even like it had its moments where it was like a little annoying for Sam, right? Like, you weren't annoying, but it was just like annoying for Sam. But it's like I low key like missed that. I low key missed that because it was like at least I knew that like my person wanted me. You feel me? Like, and I know that Erica wants me now. You feel me? Like, she still texts me and is like, "Hey Sam, what are you doing? What's up? Miss you." But I don't know, like, when we're together in a room, it just feels different. Not like how it did before Aria was here. And I find myself trying to, like, make sure that I keep that interest in her evident and make it obvious. But sometimes it doesn't feel as if that as much effort is put in on Erica's part.
And how does that make you feel, Sam?
He just explained how it makes him feel. He said it makes it feel like he's not wanted.
Excuse me, I'm talking to Sam.
That's what he said.
Sam, how does it make you feel that you don't feel wanted?
I don't know what those eyes mean. How does it make me feel? I don't know. it makes me feel like I kind of just gotta like do my own thing on my own, and then like when that attention comes, like take it, like accept it when that attention comes. But it's kind of like, all right, cool. Like Arya's asleep and Eric has some energy. Okay, yeah, let's watch the TV. Let's do something. Right. But then we're watching it and then like you fall asleep or something like that. And I'm not faulting you for falling asleep. I know that you're pregnant right now, right. Erica. Like building a whole nother human in your body. I'm not. It's like I can't hold it against you. So it's like, and not that I want to, but it's like I can't be upset. But at the same time, it's like, but where do I draw the line where like it's like this is what I want, but I'm not placing too much expectation on you to do something for me that you can't. But then, but the last thing that I'll say is that like, so yesterday, right? I mean, Steph and I, we go to the gym together, right? Mm-hmm. And I've been looking kind of good. Like, you feel me? Like, you feel me? Like, I've been looking good. So
I've been telling you that you look good.
I walked past Erica's, it's funny that Kai said that. I walked past Erica's laptop because Erica was like, Erica's doing some recording for class. And I see, I don't know what that look means. I'm scared. And so
I didn't realize I was making a face.
I walked past the computer and then I walked back and I'm like, yo, I look good. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, like, like, what did I say? I said, you should like compliment me. You should compliment me more. Like, I look good. Why? Not because I'm searching for compliments, but because like you could get so many compliments out in the world. We live in a world where compliments are like so cheap. But it's like the one person that I want, like, if Erica gives me a compliment, sometimes I'll be like, all right, whatever, shut up. But, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, she think I look good. Like, my wife. So when I said that, she was like, but Sam, I could think of 3 instances in which I complimented you.
That week.
Now, had I responded like that, if Erica, like, made some request of me about her physical appearance, it would have been like, what? Like, that's not what I wanted in that moment. I didn't want you to, like, respond. Okay.
Remember?
And so basically, it just goes back to the umbrella of being fiend over.
Or we're not gonna bring it together. Okay.
I definitely I think you both said enough. No, I'm kidding. No, I
and they wonder why
all jokes
men
aside,
don't feel comfortable sharing their emotions because we don't have the space to be open.
We don't have the space.
God forbid we do. It's like, okay, y'all dragging
for
it.
All jokes aside, I can 100% understand how both of you feel. Both of your points absolutely valid. Definitely is something that I know I need to work on and that I'm continuing to try to work on. There's no but to that. That is just it. Yeah. I understand. Okay. I cannot describe this overwhelming connection that I feel like I have with Cairo. It is indescribable. I spoke to many moms. I spoke to Erica. It's just a feeling I can't explain. So I think it's more so about figuring out how to make it more bearable, if that makes sense, or to make you feel like you are still very important to my life. I think I have to get better at that.
It's like,
I can't explain.
But when I hear
feeling.
That, it low key makes me feel like you're saying that I don't have that feeling either, but I could still like kind of carve out those boundaries to still where I'm being present as a father and a parent, while at the same time like being present as your husband who's supporting you emotionally, physically, mentally, right? And the thing is, like, you're right. Like, at the end of the day, this is the one person, like, kids are the one beings that have heard the inside of your heart, that have heard your heartbeat from the inside. They've shared your body. You literally have created them, and I understand that emotional connection, but
I don't think you
for
guys
me,
can understand
no,
that, though.
When I say I understand, I don't mean in the sense that like I have that with them. When I say I understand, it's mean like as best as I can, I can mentally process that, but not resonate with it on that emotional level. But for me, as far as I can mentally process it, the question I ask myself is, how long?
Okay.
Would I have to put up with this until like you
Gotcha.
see me again and we hear?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Steph was gonna say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Steph.
No, go ahead. You go.
I was just gonna say, I don't know how long, but I do think that there are other, at least for us, there are other factors I think that are also contributing to my attention being like other places, like the fact that work has been stressful, the fact that I'm growing a baby inside of me. There's just like a lot of things. And I do feel like oftentimes it sounds like an excuse. And I said this to him yesterday. I was like, or today actually, I was like, when I say that I'm tired, I'm not just saying it to like in a moment of convenience, like, oh, I'm too tired to do that. I was at a concert yesterday and I fell asleep. Like at a concert, at a loud concert. And so it's just like, I do recognize that sometimes it can come off as like me making excuses or me not really like taking into consideration how you might feel. I do try to do that, but I also feel like I'm trying to work against like I'm working against the natural like stressors and factors that are occurring.
Okay. So this is my take on everything that's being said, right? There is certain obligations that you guys feel as mothers to your child, right? As wives, what obligations do you guys feel? What kind of obligations do you guys feel? Because I see and I'm hearing from what you guys are saying that the reason why you guys are approaching these situations and experiences the way that you guys are because of the obligations that you guys feel as mothers. Y'all feel that you have to do these things. What obligations do you guys feel that you guys have as wives?
I mean, again, this is why I said, and Erica has said it too, like we know it's not something that is okay, if that makes sense. Like we know it's something that, we know we have to make time for y'all. Like we can acknowledge that that is important. Like I know for sure that, you know, me disregarding you or putting my energy into the other things and then putting you on the back burner in some situations is not good. It's not healthy, and it's something that I need to continue working at because you are very important to my life and you have needs and you want to be satisfied in your relationship as well. So it's something that I definitely can acknowledge. It's just hard to, and I will say this too, I think in any relationship, mostly marriages or like intimate relationships, a lot of times, and me and Stefan talk about this a lot, even when it comes to like the cleaning situation that we spoke about, when it comes to work, I'm trying to show up my best self, like have all the energy there, completing my tasks, doing what I need to do for that. When it comes to Cairo, like trying to make sure like I could be the best mom ever, and naturally the husband and wife aspect, our marriage is the part where I'm just like, hopefully Stefan can just understand, which is not okay. I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm saying that that's how the breakdown happens because from 8:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. when Cairo is asleep, I've given all my energy into those two things. So then when it's nighttime and it's 9 p.m. and he's finally asleep, I'm like, woo, I just need a moment to myself to sleep or to take a shower and eat and just relax. But then it's like, oh, snap, Stefan might want to have sex. We're grown. Or, oh, snap, you know, Stefan, you know, might have wanted a movie. But because I have given my energy to everything else in the day, that is naturally the thing that falls to the wayside. And it's not okay. I'm going to say that repeatedly. But it's kind of like trying to find a good balance. And I think it's more so me hoping that you can have the understanding because we're kind of going through it together. You're
But
working
we're not,
too.
though. But we're not.
No, in the sense of like working hard, then having to give our attention to Cairo, and then by the time it reaches nighttime,
that aspect of
like
it,
that
yeah.
aspect. So it's more of just like I hope Stefan can understand. Like I had a long day.
But my thing is this, right? Because I understand, we are both going through the aspect of raising Cairo together, and you know it is, like you said, it is very tiresome. So I get that part of it, but my whole thing about bringing up the obligation part of it, what other obligation in your life, in your entire life, are you able to be like, well, I hope they understand?
None. That's what I was saying.
Right. So my thing is, if you're not able to do that with any other obligation, why would the thought process ever naturally, because you're saying that it naturally happens, why would that naturally come into your head? If you're agreeing to the fact that in no other place in your life have you been able to say, well, I hope they understand, to an obligation that you have. You get what I'm saying? Like any other obligation that you have in your life, you're not able to say, well, I hope that they understand. why would you naturally in your head think, oh, well, I hope he understands?
I think it has a lot to do with being comfortable, being like taking that part of it for granted because we're not in a space where we're necessarily concerned about the chase of it or having to make sure someone is still interested in me. And these are just honest thoughts about it. That stuff is important because that's what's going to keep your relationship alive. That's what's going to keep it interesting. But naturally, when you're just going through life and you're comfortable with someone, it's kind of just like, they'll be all right. Like, it shouldn't be that serious. Like, we're both doing this. We're both tired. Like, they should get it. And that is not a good way to think about it. But if I'm answering honestly, I feel like that's where it comes down to. It's like, Stephanie, no, I don't got time. Like, I'm just tired, Steph. Yeah. Like,
I also think I've seen a lot of videos where a lot of women feel the same way in this stage and a lot of men feel this way. So I do think, too, that in my mind, I'm like, he'll be okay because he's not the only guy. Like I feel a little bit better.
Hold on, what you mean by he's not the only guy?
Like, he's not the only guy.
Oh, that's going through
this.
that.
Yeah. What you thought?
No, the way that you said it, I didn't know if you was talking about like a kid or like, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I think it's like because I know that this situation happens with couples in general and then they find a way to move past it. In my mind, it's like, me not having all the attention on Sam or spending all the time with Sam, like it's not going to, and I guess that goes back to my optimism, but like it's not going to break us. Like everyone goes through this and like it's just a phase. But I will say that I know that prayer is super important during
I was
seasons
just about
like
to break
these.
that up, yeah.
Because of the fact that like this is the perfect season for the enemy to be like, oh, Erica's focus is over here. Sam is doing this. Like, this is a perfect season to sow some type of seed. And so I know that I've prayed, and it sounds crazy, but, like, I've prayed, like, God, help me to, like, like, give me what I had before in terms of, like, the energy and the... help, Lord. Like, give that back to me because, like, it is very hard working and then coming home and then, yeah.
And so I'm glad that you touched on prayer, Erica, because like that really has been a tool that I've been using as well to assist me and not only understanding where you're coming from, but also to kind of like curb my desires or what it is that I'm looking for because it might not be executed the way that I wanted to, for me to just accept realistically the stage that we're at. I remember I was having a conversation with someone. I was saying that like the things that I'm doing right now, I recognize that like is necessary and that I have to do it in order for our marriage to work. And when I say in order for our marriage to work, like this is the role that I have to play in this season in order for us to be good. Because like I care about this relationship and I care about you and Ari and our family so much that like if I have to inconvenience myself for a couple of months, like I'm gonna do that. But I think that sometimes it comes off as if that. As our wives, you all don't understand that like there are stressors that we go through as well. We're tired as well, but we have to push through it in order for y'all not to necessarily always feel weighed down by our tiredness. Like after work, I'm tired too. I don't always want to cook or something like that or want to clean, but like if I'm tired, if I fall asleep on the couch, like I'll get up and I recognize that I have to do it. But it's like sometimes it comes off where it's just like, are y'all choosing to push past how it is that you're feeling to like engage in whatever it is that like, you know, needs to be done? Or are you just like succumbing to the tiredness? And like that might be insensitive of me and I'm not trying to be, but it's just that like, all I'm saying is that like we have stuff that we're going through and we're tired too. But like in that same way, I don't think that either one of you could say that y'all feel slighted by us and on an emotional level, or even like, you know, mentally, like y'all feel supported by us in different aspects that where there's nothing lacking, even while we're still being fathers.
But I also think, and I don't even know if this is a thing, but I also feel like to a certain extent, I am getting that fulfillment in a sense from Aria. Like that joy is coming from my daughter. And so I'm not saying that like it doesn't come from you anymore, but like to your question about like does it feel
That's crazy. Why? Because it's just like for me, like, yes, I get enjoyment from Aria as well. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'll be having a bad day at work or it'll be rough, and then I'll look at if I'm not texting you, or like when you could respond, Success Academy, no teacher's supposed to be on their phone. But oops. And so we'll cut that part out. But yeah, and so like no, like that's crazy because like to hear you say that, I mean like at the end of the day, like I get enjoyment from Aria as well. Like if I'm having a day at work or something like that, like I'll look at my phone and then like I'll like smile. That brings me joy as well. But I also feel fulfillment from my wife. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like that doesn't satisfy me in the same way because like I'm not only talking about, you feel what I'm saying? What does Steph say? Mr. Nasty Time or like, you know, active worship. I'm not talking about that like that night, but I'm just saying like I said, like, you know, like I don't necessarily feel fiend over. Like I used to feel like when I walk in a room, like, oh snap, that's Sam. Now it's just like, hey. Like, and the thing is like I'm not trying to drag it. You feel me? It was just like, oh hey Sam, and so it's like I hear you, and I get that fulfillment from Aria as well. But it's like I kind of like separate it where like that's my daughter, and then you're my person.
I think to kind of wrap this up because I feel like we could talk about this for a very long time. I think when we do this podcast in general. For some of the episodes, we may have like solutions or things that we did that worked great, and we're in like a great space with it. And not that we're not in a great space with like this topic, but because we're still new parents, I feel like that's a part of it too. Yeah. Where we're still learning and figuring out what's the best way to go about it. So what we could do now is just be honest about like our faults in the situation, but then actually put effort into the things that you know, our partners are saying. So you all mentioned that, like, you all supporting us, knowing that, you know, we may have these feelings about our child. We may be in a place where we're tired. Like, Erica is pregnant right now. So that's a whole different, like, dynamic. So for Sam to acknowledge that, like, you know, I know a lot of times you're going to be tired physically. Like, it's very well known that a pregnant woman is going to be tired. Right. So supporting us through that, but then also as wives, trying to figure out the best way to show you all that you are appreciated and you are still the love of our lives, even though our heart is literally split into pieces now because of this new human that has come into our life. So I think it's just about figuring it out. We might not have like all the answers right in this moment because we're still new parents. I'm sure people who have been parents for years are still trying to figure that part out. Maybe, hopefully y'all got to a good spot. Let us know if you did.
Yeah, give us some advice.
Right.
If you haven't.
Yes, please let us know. So yeah, I think that's a good place to pin it. And we'll definitely as a group probably be having more detailed convos about this. But in general, I would definitely say it's always important to let your partner know that you love them, but not to just tell them, but to show them. And it sounds like that is what Sam and Stefan are essentially saying. They want to feel wanted and desired in that type of way, even through our tiredness. Because that's how they feel like they pull up for us.
Right, because I mean, we look good. I think you're a good-looking black man, Steph. And I mean, and I know I'm nothing less.
On,
so it's like, you know.
He was about to say that's more stressful.
Come on, man.
We love y'all so much. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you next time.
All right, peace.